Okay. Good. Hi there, my name is Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by Maury Rutch. How you doing, Maury?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks for joining me. I know you sell capos and accessories at your store, so I thought it'd be a good time to discuss our favorite capos together. So before we go into the capos that we use, what is a capo? Can you explain to the audience for me?
Well, a capo is basically a fancy clothespin, and I've got a couple on here just in case the time was right. We would show you the different styles. But the long and short of it, when you play guitar, the strings cross at the nut, which is down here past the first fret. So if you recognize every chord shape you make, whether you're in standard tuning or alternate tunings, everything that happens is basically ending at the nut. So we have a guitar in standard tuning. This is your E shape. What a capo will do, it will move the nut. So if you're used to playing down here, playing an E chord, and you want to play that same shape, that same fingering, but you want to get a higher pitched chord, say like an F sharp on the second fret, you can play your E shape, I say. You can slide a capo behind the second fret, and now, for all intents and purposes, your guitar's nut is here now. So I'm still making the E shape that I was making, but now that it's two frets north, it allows somebody to play a familiar chord shape somewhere else on the neck. It brings the nut to a different location, and it's the same as if somebody was here helping you by barring that whole fret all the way across. So the capo, in a short, it basically moves the nut wherever you want it to go.
I see. So great for singers because you can easily change keys as well, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, and even if it's not specifically for an end result because you can't sing in that key or it's uncomfortable, it lets you, and we'll have time to talk about this throughout the episode. It lets you get sounds that, say I was playing the E chord down here in regular tuning, and Aaron wanted to play the same song with a capo. He could put the capo on the second fret and play a D. And the fact that this D chord is voiced in this manner, it just still sounds a little bit different. So I'd be playing E open, he'd be playing E as a second fret D, and another advantage is it allows you to get different chord voicings that are the same chord, but maybe different notes and different timbres in a different order.
We actually did that. So I'll ask you now, don't play any famous songs because we'll get demonetized. So you have to think of some new riffs to play. But if you go back to Maury's channel, when I visited his store, we played a version of Norwegian Wood, and we did just that. One of us played the riff with the capo, and one of us played open, and the two sounds together, as you'll hear in the video. Also the guitars were awesome too that we played. I had what was that guitar I played? It was so good. The limited edition, like the Tony Rice style. I know what I'm talking about. With the Dalmatian pickguard.
Oh yeah, the was that a Clarence White?
It was called something else. It was like a Clarence White, but it was called something else. It was an awesome guitar, like limited edition, so cool with the enlarged sound hole. Anyway, with that the great guitars, but with the capo changing what we were playing, so playing the same key but different sounds, it made a bigger sound, like a huge guitar. It was really cool. But here's the thing. Some people say using the capo, a lot of electric guitarists say that using a capo is cheating. So what would you say about that?
My longtime friend Tim Perry, his dad woke up every day just to say that same thing to him. He's like, bringing that cheater again to the gig. It's not just electric guitar players. Some players have it in their mind that, if you want to play this chord here, put the capo away and play a B sharp or play an F sharp like everyone else. I think that's really ludicrous, and it's just my 2 cents. You invited me here today to talk about this stuff. If you want to play a passage like this, you can do that exact thing without a capo if you're talented enough, but it's still not going to sound like that because you don't get the natural descending bass, C down to B down to A. There are things that happen in regular chord shapes that let you play a C shape that descends down to an A minor. Yeah, but it maybe in many cases you're mimicking a song you're learning from someone else, and that song was written that way. You could certainly learn how to do that out of a D shape without using a capo, but it's not going to sound. The short answer, it's not going to sound like it did when they cheated. So, is it a cheater? Everybody's allowed to think yes or no. But if I'm going to play a Paul Simon song or a James Taylor song that he uses a capo on capo 4, part of the thing you do to sound like that song is to also cheat and put a capo on capo 4. So I don't think it's cheating, but I do know a lot of people that do.
Yeah, I agree. It's not cheating. There's things that you couldn't physically play without one. Like you shouldn't, like everything else, you shouldn't rely on it and not be able to not play certain things without it. But there's things you couldn't play without one, and they're actually a really musical thing. And there's many different types you can get as well. I've had several over the year. I used to have one that was on a roller, so you could just kind of roll it up as you're playing.
Oh, wow.
And so some people would be playing in one key and just roll it up the neck. There's so many, and there's partial capos that only do some of the strings. And there's even a good trick that the Norwegian wood thing I did. I just did all the strings but not the low E. You can do stuff like that. So you can get very creative. They open up a whole new world. And we were just talking about songwriting off the air. And of course, that's a big thing too. Because you might write a riff and try it in different positions with a capo. It might sound just right on a certain position. So I would say every guitarist should have one. I've been to gigs and forgotten one, and I can still get through the gig without it. But it's a really important tool for what I do. And I think everyone should have one, if not two. I try to have two, so I've always got a spare. So if I do lose one, I've got another one, So yeah, very important tool for any guitarist. I really do agree. So let's talk about the different ones that you can get. Let's talk about what your favorite capo is. You go first, and I'll talk about mine after you.
Well, thanks. My favorite is the one that I have right here now. It's the Colorado capo. It's a good friend of mine. Full disclosure, I'm friends with the guy that brought this to market, so take that for what it's worth. But we'll work backwards, and you'll see the other styles, whether I'm going to put them on camera or maybe Aaron will. The Colorado capo is my favorite because it's the profile of this capo. I'm not sure how much you can really see on the camera. The fact that I'm capoing the second fret, means that the blade of the capo stops right behind the second fret. But the design of this, the body of the capo, the yoke, typical capos might have the body right under the blade. This yoke is actually almost a half a fret towards the headstock away. So when I'm trying to capo the second fret, behind the second fret is very open and empty, and this isn't in my way. So if I want to play a chord like a B7, I have more room with this capo by far than any other capo that's ever been, used. So that's the biggest reason. It also has a very good intonation. You can go from the second fret to the fourth fret, back off the guitar, back to the third fret without retuning. And it's just one of those things that, if I'm being really honest, I wasn't one of those players that was constantly actively looking for a better capo. I could use any capo like a Kaiser or a Shub and really not be unhappy. But now that I've gone to this, going back to them is a little bit more of a chore. There's times I go to gigs with a Kaiser just because this is on my acoustic guitar and I forget this is attached, and I'll bring another guitar to another gig, or I'll play with my Strat. In those cases, I'm fine with other capos, probably a Kaiser just out of habit. But my favorite for these reasons is really the Colorado capo. And I've only had it for about 6 months. It's just come to market this past summer, so it's still the honeymoon phase, but I really think it has a lot to offer, and it is very unique. So.
Yeah, I like the way it seems to not block your fingers. I can't say I've had an issue with that, but it is a good design decision. Can you just show us that again? Does that the way it's ergonomically angled like that? It's kind of cool. I mean on the top, if you show us this from the side, is that why they've done that? So your fingers don't get in the way? So it doesn't get in the way of your fingers? That kind of slope?
Absolutely. Because if you would, in comparison, take a Kaiser, when you fret the Kaiser, at the fret you're using, right below that fret, that's where the body is. So if I want to play a B7 here, you can, well, you can't. I mean, you can, but my hand is really begging for some real estate here. Where whatever fret your Kaiser's on, right below it, I mean, you can see how it's built. Whatever the blade's going to cover, that's right where the body's going to be. The Colorado capo solves that by being offset. The blade lands on the fret, and this part of the capo stays out of the way. And really, you have to ask Matt and those guys who designed it. Maybe I probably shouldn't speak for them, but I know one of these serious issues that brought that idea to light was that you wanted to have a capo that stayed out of your way. And just as like when you're playing without a capo, you're playing some chord shapes here, you don't even know the capo is there. It's only when you play a chord that causes your palm or your fretting angle to really, get angled that way, where you really need that relief. And then other benefits are it stays in tune better, and it parks behind the nut when you're done. But that really is, I could probably give you guys some good pictures after this episode's over. Maybe I could put something in the comments section.
Yeah, please do.
To point you back towards our website in Colorado. Okay.
Yeah, please do.
But it really, for how much you can see on this camera, I think it's a very useful design.
It's interesting. And what do they sell for?
As of this taping, I think they're $50 for the aluminum and maybe $5 more for brass.
Okay.
As I say that live, I think there might be. I'm not sure if they're going to continue doing brass, but it's about a $50 capo. Long story short.
Okay, let's go over to the chat. We've got Becca here from PA, Alec all the way from Tuscany, Rodrigo.
Wow.
Alec used the G7s, and Rodrigo used the G7 second generation, which I'm going to show next. Becca has a Colorado, a Kaiser, and a Shub. The Colorado is my favorite, with Shub coming in second. Is Becca a friend of yours? Did she buy the capo from you?
She's a friend of mine, and I believe if she didn't buy it from me, she bought it from Matt, and she's my friend no matter where she bought it. So hi, Becca.
No, it looks really interesting. I love trying new capos and things, and I would like to try that one. But I will talk about these ones here. So, yeah, full disclosure again. These were given to me. These are friends of mine, but I don't use stuff that I don't like. This is the. Wait, is this the older version? No, this is the older version. I actually like the older version because it's really, really thin. You see how narrow that is? Let me put up the camera. Come on, focus. There we go. This is actually the old version, which I tend to use more because I like a capo to be, again, out the way. So that's why I always choose a thin, light one. So that's why your capo, the Colorado, interests me because it is out the way completely. And that's why I've always gone for the thin ones. The new one is actually thicker. But it has this kind of technology in there which is supposedly more in tune. I don't know. I feel like with a capo, if you're recording, you always should put it on and then tune the guitar. Maybe live, that's not practical. I don't really have an issue with that. Obviously, you've got to put a capo on the right way, not too tight, not too loose. There is a little bit of a skill to it. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, matter of fact, I had a customer last week talking about some fret buzz he was experiencing, and he had the capo, frankly, in the wrong place. He had the capo halfway back from the fret, and you really do, Aaron's right, you really do want to get it right up against the back of the fret you're playing, and it's you can get away with some slight mistakes, but the more accurate you are with getting that put on the correct way, you're going to have better intonation for sure.
I just grabbed the Modern Deluxe so I can show it to you on here. So this is what I do. In the comments, I'm all for learning. Let me know if you do it differently. I very carefully open it up all the way, and I put it as close as I can to the fret. Some people put it on the fret, like actually covering the fret. I have it as close as I can to it, kind of touching it. And from experience, I know it's kind of got to be a medium tension. Now, I think the one you have, I think the Colorado is good because am I right? You can adjust the tension. On this one, it's a clamp. Once I've clamped it on, I can't loosen it really. It's like it goes from loose to tight. So with yours, can you do micro adjustments on yours?
Absolutely. The Colorado is like it's a lot like the Page and the Elliott. It's got the traditional thumb screw, and it doesn't take much. But once you get it on, you certainly can make fine-tune adjustments without any problem.
Yeah. Again, a lot of this is personal preference, but that's a good thing to have, the adjustment after the fact. I'm gonna go full screen and just show mine. Here we go. So I put it on kind of, I usually start kind of medium tension and just check the strings. And if there's any buzzing there, I will then readjust it. So yeah, I haven't tuned this guitar, but definitely if you're recording or doing a performance where you're just playing with the capo on all the time, definitely retune the guitar with the capo on, because they can obviously pull the tension out, right? Right, Maury? Have you found that with all capos?
To some degree, I don't think it's always really far off, but yet you can certainly get a better result by following that logic.
You know, I have to do this now. I'm gonna test it. I'm just gonna tune one of the strings on here. I got the strobe tuner, which I love. Okay, so that E is in tune. Now I'm gonna put the capo on, and I'm gonna see if it should be a G. It's on the 3rd fret, so that high E should now be a perfect G, right? Let's see. Oh, it's perfect. Wow. Okay. I have to say, I think that can vary on the capo. And I do think the new G7s have a technology in there which is supposed to allow for that. There's been some, I don't really want to name names, but there's been some capos that I don't particularly like because they don't fit all the radius and neck shapes of all the guitars. And some of them even give you like different attachments and things. So another reason I like mine is that it kind of works on all the guitars I've tried it on. So have you tried that, the Colorado? Have you tried that on many different neck shapes of guitars as well?
Yeah, I've had the luxury, of course, having the store here. Whenever I have an opportunity to play another guitar, as you know, when we bring something into inventory brand new, we'll make sure everything plays correctly. Because I'm doing that anyway, I use this capo more often than not to make sure if we have questions about that guitar or this capo, somebody has a question about does it fit, is there any kind of radius problem, so on and so forth. Yeah, I've tested this on all the Martin, what's the word I'm looking for? All the usual suspects of the Martin necks have been fine with the Colorado capo. They're all 16-inch radiuses, but some of them are V's, some are modified low oval, some of them are authentics. I've played it on my Strat. I've got an Epiphone Les Paul, and then we have a lot of the Reverend guitars in stock. At least across those items, the Colorado capo hasn't had any issue at all.
That's good to know. But Becca said she bought it direct from Colorado Capo, but learned about it from you. So you're a good. I say it again. You're a good salesman.
I'm good at that. Thank you, Becca.
People in the chat, have you had any issues with using a capo, or have you got anything cool you do with it you'd like to share? Because there's more to a capo than just throwing it on there and changing the key of a song. Let me show you. I'll tell you what, Maury, this will be fun. I'll show you a trick that I do with mine, or a certain way I play a song, and then I'll ask you to do the same. So you've got some time to think about it, okay? Let me just grab my guitar. I'll grab your guitar, Maury. So I'm going to steal the drop tune thing, because I love doing that. Okay, let me put myself on the camera. Okay, so some people like to do drop D on the guitar. So what they do is they tune the low E string down to a D. And then they can play a open D shape with that low D sound, which sounds really cool. Sounds more like an open E would sound. And what you can do with the capo, if you don't want to tune anything down, you can put it on just the A, D, G, B, and E string and not the low E string. And what that means is when you then play a D shape, you get this, you get the low E and your D shape. And this is what we were talking about earlier when we did a cover of Norwegian Wood. I wanted to play the riff around that. And it gives me access to that low E. So that's a really, really useful thing. Again, for songwriting or anything like this, kind of. Really, really cool. I'm sure you guys have tried that. If you haven't tried that, if you're watching, then definitely try that. All right, now Maury, you're totally on the spot. Show us something cool you can do with the capo.
That was awful. I was told there'd be no thinking. You said, meet me at 4 o'clock. It'll be
I
real
know, but I like
easy.
to put people on the
Um,
spot, keep them on their toes.
well, I am there. Really, I don't want to sound funny. That's the only capo trick that I know with one capo, because besides just partially getting five of the strings and leaving one alone, uh, I'm playing guitar since 1984, and the only way I've ever used a capo was the traditional, just bar one of the frets and get your key change to do the Paul
Okay,
Simon stuff and the James
that's fine.
Taylor.
That's fine.
But we might be giving away what's coming up later. I'm not sure if you have a syllabus for this, but one of my really good friends from the unofficial Martin Guitar Forum, Tony Pashota, he's famous for putting three capos on the guitar,
Wow.
and he'll have one of them, and I won't pretend to tell you which capo's doing which job, but in some respect he has standard tuning, and he'll put a capo on two that's not covering all the strings, so you have some open. He'll put another capo on four, and he'll play chord shapes that I've never seen anybody play in regular traditional music that sound very unique, because there's at least one or two drones where he might be playing chord shapes, for example, on the first four strings, but his E might be an E, his A string might be a C or C sharp, and you can picture if you're getting more than one capo to do more than one job, and it's got to take forever for him to get started before he plays the note. But when he does it, it's very entrancing. I've got to reach out to him after this episode and get him at least in an email to double check my facts. But he's very good at using more than one partial capo to get, basically you have the nut doing the job, one capo doing something else, and a third capo still. One of those capos, you can picture it, Aaron. The blade only covers maybe two strings.
Yeah.
It's a partial
Yeah.
capo.
I've seen those.
And once I see that, that's, I mean, I don't have anything against it, but that's too busy for me to, a rabbit hole I don't want to jump down. But he's really good at it.
That's fine. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I'll give you another assignment. Oh, just be careful. Your speakers are echoing now from the computer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, you're good.
I'll lower my
You're good.
volume.
All right, let's try this then. I'll give you a little test. So let's say you're playing in a duo, and I've written a song that goes G to C, right, like this, like Brown Eyed Girl. So what would you do with the capo? What can you do? What are the different options you have with the capo to play G and C?
Well, to play G and C, you can do F to B flat. That would be your first, what I would think is the first logical one. Just go 2 frets up. You can go 2 frets even higher to 4. And GC is what we were doing,
Yeah,
right?
just G to C.
So now I forgot where we started. So we want to get a G. You can climb up to 5.
5th fret. Okay.
See how that? Can you play again?
Hang on.
Can you put your guitar back on? In real life, the guitar player doesn't stop showing you. So they're at the 5th fret. Excuse me, at the 5th fret, you've got your D and your G.
Okay.
The D becomes the G, and the G becomes the C. And that is the only way you'll ever get me to play Brown Eyed Girl. You managed it. I don't know how you did it, but you managed it.
That I wasn't even trying to. Like I'm writing songs lately, and everything sounds like everything else. I would probably do that. Would you? I would do that because it's higher. What I'm playing is open G, and on the 5th fret, that's really nice. That's that higher kind of sound, right? So it's a very nice combination.
Yep.
Yeah, it really rings. It really opens up the sound. This is also great for recording. If you do any kind of recording at home, try recording those open chords, and then try playing the same chords with the capo up the neck to really add like another part that really fills out the sound.
Yep.
Yeah, if you've got any tips on capos in the comments, please do add them, because I'm always looking to learn. I just picked these things up over the year. I stole all these from musicians I used to work with in duos, and watching people like
Sure.
like Tommy Emmanuel, will play a song, and then at the end he'll throw the capo off and hit the open chord. Things like this. You just steal little ideas from people, don't you? And it's just cool. But I enjoyed that. I just want to give out a little lesson for people that haven't really thought about what the capo is for, and maybe the people that say it's cheating don't really, haven't really thought about why you would use one. So I think they're really important. I really do. And that was a really good little lesson there. Thank you. There's lots of tools. If you haven't used one before, this could open up a whole new world of playing guitar, right?
Oh yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah. So what do you want to cover next? I don't have a schedule at all. This was very last minute, and I just thought, let's talk about capos. So, what would you like to add?
Well, I was going to ask you. You mentioned the G7, and I don't know if that's something that you use exclusively, but so far we've basically talked about the yoke style capo, which is the Colorado, and I nicknamed them like the clothespin kind with the G7, but I'm not sure if that's really accurate. If you recognize that this yoke style on most guitars, unless you have a very strange, the back of the headstock might not allow it, they can park back there. That allows somebody to do something like this, where we just got done playing with the capo. I don't have to put it somewhere else and lose it, put it in my pocket. It's basically right there at the ready. That's what I used Kaisers for years, because playing in gigs, and Aaron can recognize this, when you're playing and you're done that song, you can put it on the headstock, you can put it on the mic stand, you can forget it on the mic stand. I play the American Cancer Society telethon every single year when it comes to Jim Thorpe, and I lose one capo every year because I put it on a mic stand. We get done, they throw us off the stage, and there goes the capo. Yeah. But the one thing we haven't looked at so far, and I don't know if Aaron, do you ever play the shub?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to just talk through the pros and cons of all of them. Let's start with the ones that clamp on. Have you got one of those? The one that's like a clamp. So you squeeze it, it opens up, and you release it onto the guitar. Now, the reason I don't use them, and I just want to put this out there, that I do allow myself to change my mind about stuff. But right now, the reason I don't use them is I heard stories of some people damaging their guitars with those capos. Because what they do is they're a clamp. They just pressure. When you release the pressure on the guitar, it grabs the neck. So you can't adjust it. You can't loosen it. And if it grabs on really tight, it could leave a ding in the back of it. I've heard about someone's guitar. I don't know which brand it was, so I don't want to say that. But so I've heard of several people saying their guitars got dings from one of those clamp capos. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, in honesty, I have. It's not very common, but if I'm being really truthful, the opposite's also true. It's probably not easy to tell anybody, just put a capo there, be careless, and just do it. I think of the styles we're talking about, that is the most, that kind has the most opportunity to easily mar the back of the neck. I don't think there's any trouble on the top, but I think the neck, it could get a little bit dinged or chewed up, certainly more easily than the other styles.
And don't leave it on. Never leave a capo on the guitar. Always take it off. You can also put the clamp one, that one you've got there, could go on the headstock for storage, but I don't think it looks very good. I don't like doing that. It just looks funky. But yeah, please don't do that.
I agree.
So the next style that you can get is, the one that you screw. Is it? Well, show us another one, please. I've only got one capo, so I can't really demo much. Well, I have several. They're all the same style.
This is your channel. You should have something ready, Aaron.
I just don't have any.
All right. So this, following the same logic of the Colorado capo, this is a Page capo. And remember that name, because that's going to be on the test at the end. Page capo. That name's going to come back to you before this episode's over. This is another one where you can basically store it behind the nut when you're not playing. Admittingly, even easier. Well, maybe not even easier. I'm glad I tried that, because this is famous for being out of the way when you're, behind the nut when you're not playing. But my OM28V, and Aaron knows what I'm going to say next, has a volute. What's a volute? There's this, it's not that important anymore in the way they're building guitars these days. But years ago, this would actually hold the headstock on the neck. On the throwback guitars, this is the OM28V from the late 90s. They put this on some Martin guitars to this day, as a vintage, aesthetic. So with that being back there, you guys saw me a couple times. I put the Colorado capo back there, but the Page capo, which has a history of being good for this, I'll be honest, it really doesn't go all the way back there without. I can't loosen this enough to make room. So Page capo on guitars that don't have a volute, it would typically live back here, and you pull it down whenever you need it. So that's, it's live TV. I didn't realize I was going to find that out about a Page capo. But if you have a volute, maybe you can't park it. But back to the meat of the question. Now this is going to be the same idea as Colorado. You just put it on as lightly as you have to. Right behind the fret, you want to use as little tension as you need to get all the strings to sound cleanly. You don't want to over tighten it. But this one, it's such a small, low profile design, it doesn't get in your way that badly, like the Kaiser might. But that shares a lot of similarity and function of the Colorado as far as how it's attached and how it gets tighter.
I love the low profile. I love how minimal it is. But that's why I love doing these live hangouts, to try gear and talk about gear, because you kind of learn stuff. You learn stuff from the guests, people in the chat. We learn stuff from each other and just trying stuff live. I think that one looks great, and yeah, the volute, right? But not all guitars have a volute, right?
No.
I didn't use them. I didn't really. I don't know. I never really got into those style. It's good that you can adjust them at the back and tighten them and loosen them, and it's good how low profile it is. I think I didn't like the look of the back of it or something. I don't know. Let me show you. Let me show mine on the camera. So how would I explain mine then? Mine is it's a clamp, but it's not. It doesn't have tension. You have to close it yourself. Okay, so again, I actually prefer the old design. It's really thin. Oh, my friend Chris is here. He's texting me right now. He said, "Nice hair." Thanks, buddy. Chris Decker, what capo do you use? Chris is he's a full-time gigging guitarist like me, so I know what he uses. I'm sure he has thoughts on this. I think the G7, honestly, I think it looks really cool. I think it looks nice. I think it's incredibly well made and sturdy, not too heavy. Can't really see it from the front. I have lost some. They're not the most affordable capos, and you don't want to lose a capo if it costs money. I have left them behind at shows. I've left them in my pants, So that is a downside, I guess, of any capo, right? I used to have a red capo because I thought I wouldn't lose it. Don't buy an expensive capo and lose it. I guess that could happen with any of them. That's why it's good if you can store it on the guitar, but I just don't like to see it on the headstock, So. Sure. So I'm trying to think of the cons of this. I guess, like I said, it's hard to loosen it, but I've not really had an issue with that. Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I'm not. Well, I'm technically endorsed by them, but it doesn't really mean they're not paying me or anything to say that. It's just I went to see them at NAMM. I said, I like your capos. They gave me a couple and put me on their website. But I'm perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy to try any other capos. If any companies are watching, then send them my way, because I will. I'm happy to try them. Like I said, I've tried some I didn't like. You know me, Maury. I'm just a working musician. I'm just honest about what I like. But I like to feature other stuff too. And your Colorado does interest me, I have to say. It looks very cool. I think with those kind of things, you have to try them. I think with the capo, it's really good to try it and in person, because we all like different things, and we all have different guitars and things, right? Alex.
I'll have to send you one. Let us know what you honestly
Yeah, I'd be happy to review it. Happy. Alex said, have you guys any hints for phone mounts for filming the fretboard? Okay, same thing. It's a bit off topic, but same thing, Alec. I did get a mount for the phone or a GoPro for the headstock of a guitar, but I don't really want to put it on my guitars because I feel like it's kind of clamping on, and I don't know if it would damage a headstock, but I just don't really want to risk it. And then that's also, you got the weight then of the thing on the guitar. So that kind of ties in with what we're talking about. I don't really want a heavy capo on the headstock or even on the neck of the guitar, So, look, Chris isn't in the chat. He's texting me, so I'm going to read it out. I can't believe you mentioned me with the hair. I texted you because I thought you'd want a bit. Oh, yeah. Okay. Another topic. But I don't. Whatever. My most important thing is the capo is light. Okay, but light but well made. And that's the that's the problem with those foam mounts. They're really cool. It's really cool when you have your camera on the headstock filming the guitar. It looks really cool. But I want someone else to try it and tell me it's not going to damage the guitar. So that's how I think with accessories. Now I know we don't always know these things, and sometimes accidents can happen. It's a bit like humidifiers. I had a humidifier in the past that kind of leaked, and I was worried it would leak into the guitar. And these things can happen. You know, of course, they can happen randomly anyway. But yeah, that's my thoughts on like camera mounts and capos. I do want something that won't mark the guitar, and I've so far had no problem with my G7 because it is all rubber. You know, the whole thing's rubber, and I don't leave them on. But whatever you do, don't leave the capo on the case for a week, in the case for a week, because that over time it could leave some marks. I think I've heard that rubber can also react with the certain finishes, right, on certain guitars.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Oh, apparently I've got some chats here that I can't see. I really wanted to know what the guitarists here are using, and what they're doing. No, Chris, I can't see your chat. I can't see your comments. I forgot what he uses now. But so, have we covered all the different capos you can think of? The clamp, the non-clamp, the screw adjustment. The Colorado is basically a screw adjustment type, right?
Sure. I mean, besides the old, way back when there was gold discovered in the West, those capos looked like rubber bands, but they were cloth, I guess. I wouldn't really. If you've never seen them, you're not missing anything. They were basically a rubber band. You kind of had to pull it, and I'm talking in the late 70s, early 80s. It's before Aaron's time. So current cables, I think we have.
Maury's obsessed with age. You always talk about age. My 40th is coming up, Maury. Send me a card. Send me some strings.
Kidding.
If you really get stuck, if you go to a gig or a recording session and don't have a capo, here's a tip. You can get a pencil and an elastic band and just put that on the guitar. You can do, yeah, exactly. No, people have done that, but again, you want good gear, you want stuff that works. Get yourself a good capo. That's the moral of the story. Get yourself a good one and use it to play in new ways and write new kind of songs and arrange music in a fresh way. I think that's the point. I think that's what we've been saying in this video. And then investigate the different ones available and find one that you like that works for you. So Maury, which ones do you have in stock right now at the store? Which ones can people check out on your website?
We do sell the Page capo, the Shub capos, and there's a few different variations of Shub, the Colorado capo, and the Kaiser. So they're the 4 brands we carry right now. Plus there's also there might also be a Planet Waves capo that I forgot to bring down to the studio, but we sell Planet Waves, Kaiser, Colorado, Shub, and Page.
Oh, because I thought you were only selling Colorado. I thought you had like a deal with them to only sell theirs, but you've actually got a whole selection of different ones.
Right, we stand behind that product 100%, but we're not exclusive to it.
Okay, so a customer could email or phone you and say what they're doing, and you can recommend one to them.
Absolutely, and there are good capos out there that we don't sell too. So by no means are we saying this is an exhaustive list. That's what we've carried. We feel good about, but I know that the G7 frankly, it's hard for us to keep those in stock. We carry them from time to time. There's an Elliott capo. There are some other names. I'm on the spot now, but by no means is this quick video all the capos you'll ever have good luck with. Definitely, do your diligence and find what works for you. But these are the ones that at least I know of as a player.
Well, that's right. See, I didn't know this. So you do sometimes stock the G7 as well?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where we had a couple of them and they sold out pretty quickly. We tried to get another batch of them, and then there was a revision, like you're saying, a new and improved one, and we tried unsuccessfully a few times to get the newest one in here, and the only thing we could have really made sense of at the time was the older version. I thought, we'll wait for the newest one, and I'm a little embarrassed to say it, but we're so busy with Martin Guitars and that side of the business when it comes to accessories. Sometimes if we can't get a capo quickly, or something else, a little, an accessory of that. The smaller stuff, it just kind of takes a back seat with us. So we have to. This reminds me we need to really make that phone call again. But the G7s, the last time we did really well with them was at least one generation ago.
Oh, I didn't know that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say you should reach out to them. They're really great capos. I've had them for years. Like I said, I'm happy to try new things, but I've used this for so long. I highly recommend it. You should reach out to them and try and stock them again. It's good to know. It's good to know you have like a wide range of accessories. I honestly didn't know that, so it's good to know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you guys should check these out. So we do have, for those that have stuck with us for our rambling on capos, hope you enjoyed it. And we actually got 11 people in here, and we're gonna give something away. I need to get a drum roll on this. I have a round of applause, but not a drum roll. Very nice. Actually, I gotta ask you about that guitar. What is the story with your guitar? Is that a relic?
Well, we're almost out of time. It's a long story.
Okay, we'll do that another time, because what I really want to do with you is a series about the most popular Martins. So which guitar is that?
This is the OM28 VR that became named the OM28V, that was discontinued a few years ago, and now it's the OM28. But it's not exactly stock. So.
Okay. And there's a signature in there too. Is that Chris Martin?
4 of them.
Oh, who are they?
That's for another video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we got to leave them hanging for more. Yeah, what I'd like to do, we're trying to get our audio and everything working well. I'd like to do, the OM28 and discuss the history, the woods, different versions created. Obviously then you would talk about that guitar, and then I'd like to do the HD28. It's my favorite one. Let's do the main guitars and discuss them in detail, and get some fans in here to talk about theirs as well. I think that'd be really cool. Let's do the giveaway then. What are we giving away?
All right. We're going to give away a Page Capo.
I've heard they're good. I think I tried one once. I've heard they're very good.
And Aaron, this is your channel, and I'm your guest. It's up to you to figure out how to give this away.
Okay. Well, I think it'll have to be a Martin guitar question. And if you're watching, you have to promise not to Google the answer. Because if no one knows the answer or guesses it wrong, actually, no, we'll do the closest guess. The closest guess will win. Okay. I hope I know the answer myself. I might have to Google the answer myself. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. What year was Martin Guitar founded? Type your guesses in the comments. First correct answer wins. Closest wins if there's not a correct answer. Don't Google it. I'm just Googling it to check. Maury knows. Don't cheat now.
Well, there are cheaters in this chat, but they're not these things. People.
This is fun. Hey, Maury, thanks for joining me. Thanks for giving your time. Thanks for doing the giveaways, because it's really fun.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much for asking me anytime.
It really is fun. Yeah, I definitely want to, do something about Martin specifically. I love just hanging out and chatting shop. I think we should do that from time to time. But I'd like to do a series on Martin.
I'd like that.
Okay. Becca got it. 1833.
Yay, Becca.
Patsy Smith, 1948. No, it's too late. Patsy Smith has been to the museum. That's why I knew the answer. It's why it's called the 1833 shop, right, at Martin, because that's the year it was founded. So Becca wins a Page Capo. You're friends with Maury, so reach out to him and remind him to send it to you. That you're now she already had. What did she have? She already said she had like a Colorado, a Kaiser, a Shub, and now she's got a Page as well.
She doesn't even need it.
You can have 4 capos on the guitar at once. Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has been great. I'm glad it worked out. Thanks everyone for joining us. Please subscribe to my channel, ring the bell. Please subscribe to Maury's music, ring his bell. And as always, I'll put any relevant links in the description when Maury sends them to me. Becca's very happy. I'm gonna give her a round of applause on here. No, I have a sound effect, Maury. I just played it. I'm gonna get a drum roll for the next giveaway we do. Yeah, awesome. Really, very enjoyable, very interesting conversation. We should definitely do more of these on. Give us some suggestions on picks, on strings, on all those different things. You know, anything. Humidifiers would be a good one to do. So
I agree.
yeah, anything. It's always great to hang out with you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Please tune in Friday. I've got Dick, the one and only Dick Boak. How about that, Maury? Dick Boak from Martin. He worked there his whole life pretty much. He knows everything. He manages he did manage the museum and the archives. He will take your questions live on air. You have to be there for that. It's going to be so much fun on Friday. So yeah, we'll see you then. Well, I'll see you then. I'm sure Maury will tune in. And
Yes, I will.
yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your time, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.